Holy Story 19. God is He a jealous God who takes revenge? First Steps Catholics. Arnaud Dumouch. Institute Dr. Angelique. Is God a jealous God? Jealous of His superiority? Why am I asking this question? Because in the Old Testament, in the Decalogue, therefore a text which is the heart of the Old Testament, the second commandment is precisely this one: you will not prostrate before these images, you will not serve them, for I, God, am a jealous God, who punishes the fault of the father over children, over grandchildren, great-grandchildren, for those who hate me, but who gives thanks to thousands for those who love and keep my commandments. It is by relying on this text, mainly, which is there that is real, that Protestants refuse what we call, we Catholics, the communion of saints, namely that God, who is the only Savior, the only Redeemer of mankind, can do as His first work as sharing of His power by creating with Him co-redeemers, angels and men, saints of heaven who help us, to arrive at this redemption. So how to answer that? First, by saying this. When one considers the beginning of the creation of humanity, God, who is the only Father, the only Creator of humanity, the first thing He does, in making Adam and Eve, is that He makes them a father and a mother who can give life. Now in the Gospel, Jesus says, "Remember, call no one my Father, for you have but one Father, your Father who is in heaven." Well, Father who is in heaven, is not jealous. On the contrary, He shares His prerogatives. At the other extreme of the revelation, when Jesus died on the cross, He who is the only Savior, He is the one who gave His life for men. The first thing He did just before He died, He given Mary, His mother, as spiritual mother, to the Church. "Here is your son." And from that moment the disciple made his. It means that Mary has a role of spiritual mother. It can be said of collaborator of salvation. It is to such an extent that in Catholic and Orthodox theology a principle will be invented. The principle of subsidiarity, namely that God does only what He has to do Himself. To know how to create from scratch, only He can do it. On the other hand, when it comes to organizing the world, He delegates it to the angels. On the other hand, give grace, only He can do it. To die on the cross, only He can do it. But when it comes to helping grace to grow on someone, He delegates the priests, who are not only His ministerial priests, but everyone, all the baptized. So what to think of this central text? Or God says, "I am a jealous God who takes revenge on 7 generations of those who do not love Him." And indeed, it is a dated text, dated from a time when God is educating a hard, proud people. You always have to remember that. The Old Testament does not tell the will of God, but the work of God to refine humanity to perfect holiness. So He is at a time when He is forming a small people to have as their only God God, the only God, and He prepares him for that, to give him then the other revelations of which I have just spoken. So we could say, but there is contradiction. The Bible is only contradictory. No. It's like a father who has a child who has been left behind. A child become completely capricious. It is obvious that his father will not approach the child saying, "I am love and tenderness." This child will sneer. He is not ready for that. So he will start by marking his authority by saying, "You do not do this." These are the first rules we impose. That's what every educator will do. And once the child has found a certain behavior in his behavior, and it must by very strong sanctions, then after becoming an adult, he can reveal his intentions. My goal was not to dominate you, my goal was to make you grow up. This is exactly the same in the Old Testament. So, is God a jealous God? Yes. When we are proud, it behaves like that. If we are proud, to save ourselves from pride, it will make us fall into traps, by all means possible, so that, reaching the bottom of the pool, then we thought, we reflected, we came back on ourselves, and we converted. But when he is dealing with a humble man, a loving man, never does he behave like that. He sends his helpers, he sends his angels who come to help him out of all traps.